everybody? It's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the channel. Garry Dunne is a singer and a songwriter from Brisbane, Australia. He's recently released his debut single called In the Dark, which is available everywhere right now to stream. I have Garry on the line with me via Zoom from down in Australia. How you doing, Garry?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Well, thank you very much for making some time with me to chat here on the channel. What time is it there in Australia right now?
It's 11 a.m.
11
tomorrow.
a.m. Bright and early. You're in the future. Every time I talk to somebody in Australia, it's like you're in the future, and I'm sitting here. It's still evening time here in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a head
Right.
here.
So we have this new single, In the Dark. This is a really cool tune. We kind of connected on Instagram. You sent me the track. It's really cool. It's available to stream everywhere right now. What was the idea behind this song, and how did this come together? This new track.
Yeah, okay. This song was quite specific actually how it came about. I was watching um a live set of excuse me, of Jaden Hossler of all people. Not seen him, I don't think he's been here, but I was just watching his set on YouTube and it got sort of a third of the way through the set and a song came. I remember I was craving for a certain melodic thing watching the set, and it got to a point and a song changed and it had this kind of rhythm to it. And I thought, yeah, okay, I needed that. And I needed that 2 songs ago. Um, I'm gonna write that. There's a song, there's a place for that, and it needs to come quite soon in a show, like maybe 3 songs into it. We want to hit that melodic chorus and we want to lock. You know what I mean?
You say you wouldn't be with me, that this was never meant to be. But in the dark, your thoughts speak true. In the dark.
That was literally the drive. So then I knew I wanted this tempo. I knew I wanted a big melodic chorus. And then I just got to write it. I just got busy, and that was it. Sat down and nutted it out kind of over the coming days. I have a giant list of song titles and ideas, always, that I've been building for years and years. So that song, I already knew that I kind of wanted this kind of melody and I wanted this sort of rhythm and tempo. I wasn't sure exactly of the concept, and then I was reading through really quickly on all of my notes, and I had a line, but in the dark, your thoughts speak truth, which I've always loved, and I thought, okay, yeah, no, this can work. I'm going to use that. So originally the song was cool, but in the dark, your thoughts speak truth. But of course, then it
You got to
changed.
shorten it a little bit. You make it a little catchier, right?
Yeah, so that's how that came about.
What would you say
Yeah.
are like your main musical influences? Like I hear a lot of things going on in this song In the Dark. Obviously, there's some indie rock, there's some pop, there's all sorts of different genres kind of interweaving with each other. Where do you kind of draw inspiration from as a musician?
Mm. People answer this question so easily. It's so not. Um, for me, because it changed all through like each period of my life, basically. Like I have childhood influences, which are very pop. Like I grew up with Michael Jackson and Madonna and Elton John. And my father listened to Creedence Clearwater Revival and all these kind of older sort of 70s rock and that kind of thing. So that was early on. In my teenage years, then Alanis Morissette blew up and
Nice.
Shania Twain blew up. And so I had these different influences that influenced me hugely in how I write and create for different reasons. Alanis Morissette, it was all blew my mind at the time because it was all about the freeform lyrics and how she can just tell these stories and whatever the hell she wanted to. Shania, it was all about sort of Mutt Lange and the production, the craft of it all, and his work with AC/DC and Bryan Adams and all the rest. So that was very much like the structure of songwriting, and I learned a lot from that. Then came more of the rock stuff. Then it was sort of Bon Jovi, and then it was Metallica, and then it got sort of heavier and heavier. And then it was sort of punk rock. And then was the mid 2000s and bands like My Chemical Romance. For that, but My Chemical Romance, I cannot sort of under or overstate the influence they had on me at the time, hugely. just the drama of it, the concept albums and all of that kind of thing, which sort of harked back to my childhood too, with the likes of Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell, and
Yeah.
all of that. There was always that kind of dramatic link.
Mhm.
Yeah, so then at that point, I was playing in bands and sort of doing pop punk sort of stuff, or just straight rock or indie rock. But yeah, it was that kind of world of I don't know what you call it, but yeah, basically the likes of Fall Out Boy, Panic! At the Disco, and all of that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then it just kind of continued, but always, always, always grounded in sort of pop melodies and
Mhm.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm working on a track that one of the songs I'm working on is very musical theater like inspired.
Very cool.
And another one is very like 60s group like melody driven. And then the
Mhm.
third one I'm working on is very 70s. It's all like major sevens, like Zeppelin-esque.
Mhm.
So there's influences everywhere.
Yeah, but it all gets kind of filtered through your sound and through the way that you see the world. And I was, it kind of dovetails into my next question, which is, when you're writing a song, like, how does your songwriting process work? Like you're saying, you have all these different genres and influences that you draw from. Like, when you put together a song, does it start with a lyric or a melody? Like you're saying, you have a list of titles that you might work with. How do you go about creating a song? Is there one way to write a song? Like, I know myself, there's no one way to craft a song, right?
Yeah, do you come up from all angles? Like sometimes it'll be melody,
Yeah, it's kind
sometimes
of,
it'll be
yeah, the
guitar.
title, yeah, like you're saying, you had that title for In the Dark, like that's
Yeah.
kind of leads into how the song came about, right?
Drunken words are sober thoughts. You really spill the tea. I know pretty deep that I'm the one you need.
Absolutely. For me, it's same, in that it comes all different ways. Usually it's an idea. It's like, oh, this type of song, or this type of emotion, or this type of thought. Um, yeah. And then I get sort of mad into just creating that, um, which is fun. I kind of like the framework of an idea, and then just sort of, yeah, going for that, which is also why it's fun kind of writing for other people if there's a framework, because I kind of thrive in that. Um, but yeah, usually it's just an idea, and whether that idea is a line of a lyric or just the feel of a song, I know I want a really up tempo thing. I know I want an emotional ballad or whatever, and then I draw upon whatever kind of lyric idea I have, or then it comes down to just the craft of it, where it's okay, I want a really ascending chorus, I want a descending bass line though, because I
Right.
think this would be a cool polarity, and then I want a tempo change, I want the bridge to do this, it needs to explode there. I see this halfway through a show, I see this as a closing song. For me, it's all very much about the live show as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, all depending on what I'm working on.
Yeah, you have to have a song that has the energy in the studio, but then has an energy when you go to play it live as well, make a
Yeah.
connection with the audience.
Yeah. And well, for example, right now, like I'm working on a song that um came just an idea, and it's a duet. Well, hopefully it will be a duet. I've written it as one. And it came as an idea, but in my head it was extremely visual. So from day one, this song is a short film,
Mhm.
and it has to be. And it's an epic 7.5 minute ballad. And it kind of
Nice.
harks back to that earlier kind of references as well, of the drama of that. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was an idea and a visual, and it's this massive story, which also sort of links back to musical theater or country kind of storytelling. Um, yeah, which is really cool. So it just depends on what the task is at the time that I obsess about.
Yeah, whatever that particular song needs, for sure.
Yeah.
Your SoundCloud said that you want people to feel things when they listen to your music. Like, what kind of emotions and feelings do you want people to get when they listen to a song like In the Dark? Is it something you want people to dance to and kind of get up and move to? Is it an emotional connection? What kind of thing are you looking for when you put out a song like that?
Yeah, all the emotions, depending on which. That song, it's more about sort of uh tongue-in-cheek kind of angst. There is the Someone listened to it actually recently and sent me a message and said, "Oh, I feel like this is really personal and deep to you." Um, and then said something about that, and I thought, I'm really glad that you interpret it that way because it means I'm doing things right. It's not. It's a story about a girl who'd sleep with me but wouldn't date me.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But that's something
And
that
it's
everybody can relate to for sure.
yeah, yeah. Well, they're really real human emotions. And I think that's the trick for me, no matter what the situation is, if it's really light or it's really deep, it's all just putting real feelings behind that, even if it's completely made up. Like if it's a story, an idea I have that I think, oh, that's a cool story. Then I just put my real emotions kind of behind it, and that's what people relate to, hopefully. But yeah, that song, it's about just sort of rocking out live. Like it's just a fun song. Turn it up, let all that out for everyone who kind of thought you weren't good enough or whatever. And I think that's kind of pretty universally relatable, perhaps.
For sure. I totally
Yeah.
agree for sure.
What is
Well,
it for you? What did you hear? Like, what emotion did you hear when you heard it?
well, it's definitely like everybody can relate to those relationship feelings, and that's kind of what I got from it. But also, just you know, it was very upbeat as well. So you know, it's the type
Yeah.
of song that it definitely it got me moving a little bit because it kind of put a spring in my step while I was relating to the lyrics, which is kind of everything. Every musician wants to have that combination. You want to get people on the you know the musical kind of primal side of things, and then get them with the lyrical content as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Good. Good, good, good.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. That's what I
Yeah.
hope. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I was also
Yeah.
checking out the your sexy rock playlist on Spotify, and I was thinking like what makes a great sexy rock song? Like is it the beat? Is it the guitar? Is it the vocal? What is the key? Because there's some great songs in that playlist that I think, you know, really dovetail nicely with your music. Like what is kind of the key to that, you know, a great sexy rock song?
Well, that particular playlist was very much about, it was themed for In the Dark. So that type of song, I wanted that kind of emotional, that kind of song. And then the playlist is all to sort of to that. Um, to answer your question, I think there's an attitude. There has to be an attitude involved. It has to be a little edgy. Um, it can have kind of double meanings or it can be blatantly obvious. But it's got to be a little dangerous. I think it's got to be
Yeah,
a little edgy. And it's got
for
to have
sure.
emotion. Like it's got to be like, oh, here we go. Buckle up. That to
Yeah.
me makes a sexy song. Um, yeah, and being just unabashedly honest with it, I
Mhm.
think that's sexy to me.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's how I'm trying to think musically if there's something very specific, but there's not. It's got to be, nah, it's just got to be unforgivingly well done
Mhm.
and honest.
For sure. And
Yeah.
that's the thing about that's cool too that you get to put together a Spotify playlist. That's kind of the neat thing about being a modern artist in 2024 is that you can release a song, but then also include music that is influenced by it, that is inspired by it, or reflected on it. And that's really neat. So I enjoyed listening to that playlist as well on Spotify. It adds another dimension to what you're doing as an artist.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's creating that. It's kind of, yeah, just painting out the world that that kind of song belongs in. It's like, all right, well, this song, this song, this song, they kind of belong in that world too. It's this kind of music. Yeah, it's fun. You get a whole list of it then.
And so you sent me a preview of a next track that you're releasing. I don't want to spoil anything. It's called "Dancing in the Smoke," and this one was a really cool track as well. I don't want to give away too much for the you know the future of what the song's going to be, but is there any kind of hints on folks when they can hear this new track as well? Because I thought this was really cool, a nice little follow up single as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you. No, I can talk about it. It is scheduled to come out in a few weeks. However, just today I'm thinking I need to push it back a week because I don't have the visuals yet.
Okay.
So it's going to come out probably next month, sometime next month for sure. The exact date I couldn't tell. It'll come out probably early October. Um, yeah, and this is a different kind of song altogether in that this song is about a film. So I watched the film, a French film by Francois Ozon called Summer of '85,
Okay.
and moved the hell out of me. It was incredible film, just about life, love, loss, everything. And it really affected me, and it kind of just got in the world of this movie, and then wanting to create something for it. Not only did I want to create for it, I want to create for Francois Ozon. I heard it and I'm like, no, I need to write a song for your film. Like, you're incredible. So I set about writing a song told by the protagonist, first person, and sort of about his experience, which is the fun thing about hindsight and writing about a film that's already out and everything. Because if you're writing a soundtrack song, you wouldn't be so specific. You wouldn't tell it from kind of their point of view. It'd be more generalized, but the sound, it's done. So it's years old. So I can get really specific about it, which was super fun. So it's from his point of view, but also I wanted the song to be as though it could be in the film. It belongs in that kind of soundtrack, in that world. And that soundtrack is heavily 80s band pop, like The Cure and some Rod Stewart. There's all sort of different things. So I drew upon that, and you'll hear it in you know, the synths and that kind of thing. There's proper 80s kind of sound in that song. Yeah, so I set about creating this thing that belongs in that world, and was really happy with how it came together, actually. So yeah, that's the story of Dancing in the Smoke that hopefully people will hear soon.
I really loved the guitar on that track. I really thought that was really, really great. But yeah, very 80s, just
Yeah.
really, really great guitar tones on there as well. And then I saw on your Instagram as well that you were doing showing kind of the vocal layers and the harmonies that you had for that for a little bit of that track as well.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
did do that.
and that was really, really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for people to hear this because I thought it was a really cool follow up to In the Dark, and just a, you know, nice little twofer for those two tracks.
Thank you. That's cool. I was worried that it wouldn't kind of fit in the world of In the Dark. So I'm pleased to hear that you think it does. It follows up. So that's good. I'm
Good news for sure.
excited. The
Yeah.
plan is, and I will say this much without, because it doesn't give too much away. The plan is there's 4 songs I'm putting out this year, that I recorded last year. So they're all ready to go.
Mhm.
In the Dark is the first, Dancing in the Smoke is the second, and then there's 2 more that are kind of quite bold rock songs as well. And then I'm then moving on to the stuff I'm recording now. So yeah, there's heaps coming. It's exciting.
Yeah. Where do you record? Where do you work in Australia? What's the main studios? Do you have a home studio? Do you go somewhere to make your music?
Yeah, no, so generally how it works is all my songs I will do like a seed, I call it, but an early demo that's me, usually just an acoustic guitar to time so that it can be put into a session. And I do that at home. So once I've written the song and I'm really happy with the whole the whole thing basically, then I record it just into voice memos on my phone. Super rough, super basic, but to a click track in my ear. So that gets put into a session then, and then I just build around it. The vocals, I've been doing at one studio, and the rest I've been doing at another studio. So I've been doing most of it at Alchemix, which is a recording studio in Brisbane, West End. And other parts of it I've been doing at Gasworks Recording Studio, another studio in Brisbane. And that's pretty much, I've done it, yeah, between those two the whole time, for the last year or so. Yeah. So
Nice.
it's working well. There's a couple of engineers that I work with, one at each of those places. And yeah, we've got a really good working relationship now. And it's just, I'm in the flow of it. Oh, and I also have an engineer that I work with on all of the songs. He's London based, used to be
Nice.
here, but it's in London. So there's a lot of late night video calls,
Mhm.
comping vocals and that kind of thing with him.
All the fun
and
stuff of being a vocalist, being a singer, is
Yeah.
putting together those vocal tracks and making
Yeah.
it just right.
Yep, it's a thing.
When you go play a show, or when you're going to the studio, other than your voice and your guitar, what are the 3 things that you must bring with you? Do you have anything special that you bring with you to a show or to the studio?
So beforehand or in the studio, I have a humidifier, like a mister thing. It's a lifesaver for me. Some people have a voice that they can kind of just beat the hell out of and use all night long. Unfortunately, that's not me. I kind of wish it was, but I have to really take care of my vocals. Um, or else I get a couple of good hours and then I'm ruined. So I take a humidifier and just like a steamer so that I can steam. And even last night, I recorded vocals last night. I had a full vocal session, and even halfway through, it was like, no, I need to just stop for 2 minutes and hydrate the chords, and it kept me going. It was really great. Otherwise, it would have been fried. So that's one of them. And if I'm playing live, then I do that a little bit beforehand, make sure I'm all ready to roll. What else would I take with me? Very little. It's just buckle up.
Yeah, just the guitar. That's
Maybe,
all you need, and your voice is pretty much it. It's already with you.
but I have to be prepared. Like I'm a stickler for being warmed up and that kind of thing. So even if it's like in my car for half an hour or whatever on the way there or something, I'm doing vocal exercises.
Yeah.
Just so that it's more of a mental thing so that I know I can walk in and I'm ready to roll. No mucking around, no excuses, no warm up. We're here to rock. And every vocal session, even in the studio, it's the same thing. When I walk in, it's like, no, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. So that's a big thing. Of course, water, teas, herbal. I'm a huge fan of herbal teas.
Yeah.
Um,
Typical singer stuff, right?
all the boring singer stuff,
Yeah.
honey, tea, all the stuff that no one, very, very unrock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
that's
that's what it takes though. Like that's what people don't realize is that there's a reason why it sounds so good when they listen to the song is because you take care of your voice and those things are important because you can't that's all you got is that golden voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's exceptions. There are people that can go out and kind of just belt it and somehow back it up the next night. I'm sure overall there's a limited time frame to do that, but it amazes me. But no, mostly the singers that I love and that kind of thing, no, they have to take care of their voice and it shows, like you say, I think it really shows.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the singles that you're going to be putting out, a couple more singles. So that's coming up for 2024. So what's the plan for the rest of the year into 2025? Are you doing any shows coming up in Australia? Anything like that coming up?
There's none planned because I need to put a band together to do that. So there's none on the schedule, but it will happen for sure. I'm getting very itchy feet. Like it's that point where it's like, no, I'm so ready to do this. So it will happen. And hopefully by the end of the year, the plan is really it's funny these are coming out now because I'm so focused on what I'm recording right now. So that's kind of taking up a big chunk of my kind of time and energy. And I love it. I really love it. So these songs will come out and hopefully the plan is just to put them out and just to kind of keep building some interest and a bit of a fan base and yeah, just keep that on the rise. Next year, I will put out the ones that I'm working on and they're just a different, hopefully they will just take me different places. One of them being a duet with kind of a major artist actually, which I won't talk about yet because I can't. And yeah, so things will hopefully be different in that regard. And then hopefully I'll get to play a lot more live and do some showcases and all that kind of thing around the end of the year too, hopefully.
Perfect. That's very exciting. So before I let you go, I want to just hit you with some rapid fire questions. These are just fun little questions that this or that kind of questions I ask artists that come here on the channel. So seeing as you're Australian, I'm going to ask AC/DC or In Excess?
Great question. For me, AC/DC.
Yeah.
You shook me all night long. Like, come on. Gas doesn't get better. But In Excess are awesome and legendary.
It's
I
like
want to ask these right back. Like, I'm so interested in what you would think with your knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's AC/DC.
I would go with AC/DC as well. That's it's even a band like up here, like here in Canada, like AC/DC is all over the radio. You can't listen to a rock radio station without hearing "Shook Me All Night Long" or "Back in Black" or any of those classic songs. We like when I used to do the radio stuff, we played a lot of AC/DC as much as like any of the big Canadian rock bands that we would play. So they're definitely up there, I would say.
Yeah. All time, like no matter where they're from, as far as the rock goes, AC/DC are just solid. Yeah.
Batman or Superman?
Oh, Superman.
Okay.
Just completely Superman.
Way better than
I grew up
Batman.
watching like I grew up watching Superman, and then like Smallville and all of that.
Yeah.
Very Canadian link as well. It was all done
Yeah.
up in Canada.
Yeah, it
Um,
was for sure. Yeah.
yeah. But
There
yeah,
you go. All right. Star Wars or Star Trek?
this is going to be not go down well with a lot of people, but neither.
Okay. That's okay. You don't have to
I
like, you
don't-
don't have to like either. It's all
Oh,
right.
it's terrible to say, but I'm actually just haven't like I just don't know much about them.
Mhm.
I'm not into sort of either of them. So from what I have seen, I would say Star Wars because it's the only one I've seen. I've seen
Okay.
a Star Wars film,
All
but
right.
I've never gotten into it enough to know. But I'm sure they're fantastic. Is there a right question? Is there a right answer? Sorry, do you have a favorite of those?
Well, I'm a Star Wars guy, but I do believe, you know what, they did film some Star Wars movies down in Australia. So there's that connection. So there you go.
I've heard that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get into that.
Yeah, it's all right. For sure. Musical question, Gibson or Fender or something else? Like what is the chosen brand for Garry?
No, there's both on a lot of my songs, like either or. I've used plenty of times. For me, I would say Fender. Just because you just can't beat it, you just can't go wrong. Depending on which one and what you've done to it and that kind of thing, but it's the old trusty reliable to me. But you'll hear Gibson on other songs. I think in the Darks, primarily a Fender on that song, actually.
It kind of
Yeah.
sounds a little bit like you can tell it's got more of that Fender kind of sound to it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I really love that. It's almost like a bit of like a British indie kind of sound.
Hmm.
I kind of pushed in that song, but it's got that, yeah, that bit of a Fender sound.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Are
definitely.
you primarily Fender or are you
Yeah,
both?
I got Fender back here. I got a Fender amp and I got a Fender Telecaster here. So I used to be kind of into Gibson Epiphone, but you know, Fender seems to, I don't know, you can't really go wrong with that, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Good
The last rapid fire question, Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
Okay. Perfect. All the way.
Full stop all day long.
Yeah. Well, as a
Yeah.
songwriter, you know, that it doesn't really like in terms of the greatest songwriters, like you're a songwriter. So it's like you realize that these guys wrote, you know, it's like they wrote so many great songs and it's just from a craftsmanship perspective, it's very cool.
If you did nothing else but study the Beatles, you would be miles ahead of a lot of songwriters. Like if you
Yeah,
did nothing but hone in and learn what they did, you're miles ahead of the game already because
yeah,
there's so much there. They're incredible.
for sure. Well, right on. Well, thank you for answering the fun rapid fire questions. Garry Dunne, the new single is called In the Dark. So where can people get more info about you if they want to follow you online, stream your music? Where can they get more info about what you're doing?
Socials, all the streaming places. Instagram's my main social that I use actively. So definitely follow me on Instagram, but also YouTube and streaming services, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen, everywhere music is, you should find it. Yeah. Follow and stay tuned for the rest that's coming too.
Perfect. Excited for more new music coming from Garry Dunne, and the new song "In the Dark" is out there now. So thank you, Garry, for taking the time to chat with me on the channel today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I've been really looking forward to speaking to you. This is really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. So thank you. Thanks for the time.